Hello, welcome. Aaron Weber here. I'm going to take you through what I call the Why Unicity presentation. In terms of the event structure, there are two basic events I do. One are headed Why Unicity, basically why people should join us, what we've got, who we are, where we're going. The other event is, well, what now? I don't like what next because that speaks to some other thing that's got to take place before we can go to work. Next means, something else is next, right? What now is right now. It's important, there's urgency, there's no need to wait for something else to occur. So I do Why Unicity followed by What Now. Usually they are one and the same meeting with a 10-minute break in between for a decision or people to excuse themselves, they don't want to be rude and aren't interested, etc., etc. And there are just a few folks that aren't interested. So I'll take you very quickly through this Why Unicity presentation to give you a flavor of what I would do as I give this presentation. It's not complete. I'm compressing it for the sake of time and for your attention span and not making you bored and disappointed or disillusioned with my presentation. So I'm doing this as an example or exhibit A of what we've got and how I would do it using this particular PowerPoint presentation that you have. So, I welcome people. I say, I am here this evening or today to answer one question for you. Why Unicity? Why Unicity is of value to you, why it's a great thing to be a part of, why I am at and in Unicity. So I drill down on that. Well, why Unicity and why now? Well, you've got to position yourself with the opportunity, sometimes defined, most times defined as money, but not only. Where's that opportunity? That's where you've got to be. This is an anywhere-based business, without restrictions as to time, space, geography. We're dealing in huge market segments, the intersection of which creates significant opportunity. Aging baby boomers, health and wellness issues, economic uncertainty, whatever other issues there are in the marketplace that you can point to, the confluence of trends or segments is a significant opportunity. That's the point I'm trying to get across. And as a case in point, Unicity is currently, in the current market, in this place and time, growing very, very rapidly. Case in point, where we're at right now. I want them to know the opportunity is great and we are currently taking advantage of it. Last bullet point, I love this word real. Real products that provide real results or real solutions for real problems for real people. That word has real resonance with people. It speaks to the fact that we're a substantive organization. More often than not, people respond to how we're saying things and the language we're using rather than necessarily the data we're providing. I make sure to demonstrate or to explain that we try to be simple, easy, and therefore duplicatable. We want to do things in a way that everybody can do it. There's no real great new skills to learn. Yes, we can help refine your current skill set, and where there's some deficiencies, we can help remedy those. Where there's some strengths, we can help augment those. But we have a process, a system designed to save you time, effort, and create duplication in your life. At this point in time, I would make this comment, not in the meeting per se, but to you listening to this presentation. I firmly believe there are three questions that people come to these sort of meetings with. Number one, what's it going to cost? Not just in terms of dollars, but time, reputation, effort. Number two, what am I going to get? What's my return on investment? Not just again in terms of money, but in times, reputation, association, etc. The third question they have, which is usually never vocalized but always thought through and is usually as manifest by folded arms in the meeting, and that is, can I or do I see myself doing this? You don't want to answer that directly necessarily other than to demonstrate that we know what we're doing, we know where we're going, we've got a simple, easy, duplicatable process cycle system. It answers that question without it having to be asked. The other ones are asked and answered, usually verbally and key part of our presentation. But keep in mind, the theme for you in this Why Unicity presentation is to answer those questions. What's it going to cost me? What am I going to get? And can I do this? That's what these slides, if you will, are fed into in terms of their point. We point out that there's massive problems, and massive problems are sad and poor and distressing, but they also create, if we look at the glass half full, massive opportunity. Clearly the space, the trends we play in is being overweight, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and being confident of having some plan for your economics. I always tie product and opportunity together. There is no separate conversation. One feeds, supports, sustains, and drives the other. And then I say, well, that's the problem. Here is the solution. We have the product. We have the business model. We have the people. and that's an area that more often than not isn't discussed enough. And we're at the right point in time, and by the way, we're currently doing it. This isn't some theoretical exercise. This isn't some we hope to, we think we can type situation. In this market, in these conditions, with this government, with this tax regime, whatever other excuse people may want to use for the lack of performance and forward progress in their lives, we are doing it. It speaks to an immediacy, a value. Then I get into the product. This is our currency. This is who we are and what we've got. This is a point of great substance for us, and Buyer's Life Slim is the point of that spear with a heck of a lot of wood behind it. It's a great case in point. One of the great side effects that we don't talk about from Buyer's Life Slim is the fact that it just plain works and can be measured to work such that people's expectation for other products goes up because they are of the same family. I talk about Buyer's Life Slim just being a part of a family of products. This is my Exhibit A for this presentation this evening, to give them the information and impression that we're not a one-trick pony, that the one I'm using is Exhibit A. This is just a case-in-point product. And by the way, I start drilling down. It's the solution, bold and capitalized, to the world's largest health problem, cardiovascular disease, the world's fastest growing health problem, diabetes, and the world's most obvious health problem, being overweight. I always use that language, and I always make sure I explain to them that those issues are interrelated, and it should stand to reason, given that they're interrelated, that there could and should be one solution for them all. If you have one, you typically are at the pre-stage of the others, or you have the others. And so therefore it should come as no surprise to you that Buyer's Life Slim can be a solution, and I use that word, for all of those issues. And then I make the juxtaposition of, this isn't some magical juice that's going to cure impotence or baldness and cancer all combined. Those are not interrelated issues, so there is not one product that can do that. And quite frankly, folks, that doesn't pass the smell test. So I make sure I create that distinction between our claim to one product solving multiple issues vis-a-vis some of our competitors' claims to one product solving multiple, and I would add, unrelated issues. And I get into some examples. Don't take our word for it. So much the better these examples are local from your group with your people that you can have at that meeting, and they can give a 3D live presentation with the appropriate emotion. I love the fact, and this is the quote that I would use for you, is data will help people form a conclusion. That data there with Whitney lost so many kilos or pounds and so many inches or centimeters, and they'll sit there saying, that's impressive, I'm happy for her. But emotion will cause them to take action. You need both of those equations. That's why multimedia, video, and web pages are so helpful, because they generate both data and emotion. They create a visceral reaction in people. So much better to have, in this case, Whitney at the meeting and say, here's where I was, here's where I am, and here's what that means to me. That is very, very powerful. That's why you need those raving lunatic product advocates in your group, those walking billboards. That's why you need to be a walking billboard emotional advocate for our business. We certainly can provide the data, but so much better to cause people to take action, to then provide some emotional validation, if you will, for that data. So you've got Whitney, you've got Yvonne, and Yvonne, we've got some great tools there, videos showing his story. He can't be at every meeting. He doesn't want to be at every meeting, but his video can transmit much of that feeling, much of that emotion into your meeting if you play it at this point in time, or play it before the meeting. Another example, showing the same consistent data, consistent result, but also other ones. This one's got blood pressure there, the other ones didn't, for example. This has shirt size, the other ones didn't. Good data, good conclusions, correct conclusions will be drawn, but so much better, so much more powerful to have the data and some emotion to take action as opposed to just conclusions. And then Sam Peters, great tools in regards to Sam. It's a great story. Again, use those videos as to play in the break or before the meeting or after the meeting, or as links to forward to someone as part of your invitation. And then you insert your story, or the person you know is going to give the testimonial at your meeting at this point in time. Make those stories as local as you can. Use the ones that you have to use that are helpful to you, but make a plan to purposefully have localized stories of success that can be at your meeting. Then you give some data. And the data you say in regards to Buyer's Life Slim is, look, don't believe me. This product is able to be measured. Go get a test. Go jump on the scales, take the tape measure to yourself, get a blood lipid panel, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your triglycerides. That is a widely available, commonly understood database test. There is no ambiguity there. Everybody either knows of or where they can get or even knows their own numbers in that regard. And then I usually say something to the effect of, look, don't take my word for it. Go get the guy or the gal in the white coat with all those letters after his or her name. Let him or her tell you this product is working. It sort of gives us that third-party reference credibility, and most people don't, quite frankly. I know I'm nervous about needles and having my blood drawn, but the mere fact the person holding the meeting is inviting me openly to go do that is certainly a strong statement to make and builds belief in that regard. Having said that, I do suggest people do that, particularly if they're serious about the business, particularly if they have some significant issues. You want to gather that data. You want those conclusions formed. You want that data gathered. You want those stories built and told. So much better to have them based on some data together with some emotion. And then I talk about the solution is Unicity as the provider of Buyer's Life. We've talked about one segment of the market. We've talked about one product. That's a case in point. Unicity as delivered by Worldwide Wealth Builders and Buyer's Life as the currency, as the product, is the solution, the one-stop shop to many of those issues that you may have in your life. Then we segue nicely into Unicity. A bunch of logos there that are representative of where we've done our studies. I don't reference them much, but I do talk about our history, our substance, our fact we're not a bunch of localized yahoos. We've been here. We know how to do this. I usually say Unicity's been around long enough that you can count on it, that your interval of confidence in us can go up by definition. We've been through the business cycle of our own making and of a macroeconomic cycle. We know what bad times look like. We know what good times look and feel like. We know which one we prefer. We know how to avoid, negate, minimize those down periods that may be thrust upon us because we've been there, done that. We also know how to handle our own success. We don't start getting carried away and put your business and your livelihood at risk because we start believing our own press releases. We know both the good and the bad side of the business cycle. We've been through it. You can count on us. That's the impression I'm trying to get across with this particular slide and conversation. And then to drill down into the leadership. I focus on Stuart, I focus on Brent. Those are the two individuals that I believe are outstanding. We have other individuals that are, but we can't go through the entire corporate resume. I would add a localized leader there, a general manager of your market, leader of your market. You want to put a face to the issue. You want to have some degree of introduction to the people behind the issue. And then I speak about the field leadership, the fact that we've been around this a long time, but at the same time got a whole bunch of new earners. We know exactly what we're doing. We know where we're going. We've done it over time, and we're also doing it right now. So it's not just a past opportunity. It is an opportunity that exists for people that join us now because we have that foundation, we have that credibility, but yet it's actually happening right now in the marketplace. Again, I try and put some faces to the names there, your localized leaders you want to put in that montage of faces. And then I speak about the global opportunity. We're in 30 countries and counting. This presentation obviously is focused on Australia and New Zealand. And I talk about the fact we have actual operations in that many markets, not just some virtual presence where we make some sort of claim to it, but we really aren't. It's not, we're not the Wizard of Oz here. This is a substantive organization. And we can, work globally. That we can go to work with your context. Yes, you want to focus locally. It's cheaper, it's more efficient, etc., etc. But if you come across serendipitously someone who wants to add value to your business, hallelujah, we can work with that. And that we're coming now, we're in the market, if you will. And if it's a new market particularly, we speak about the particular opportunity it is to get in first, to be there, to be the creator of a market rather than the beneficiary of a previously created market. It's all good, just that one is better. And I talk about the process that we engage in. This is answering that question of, well, can I do it? Do I see myself doing it? That we have a system. It's designed for people like yourself. It's designed to save you time and energy. It's designed to augment your current skills, make up for any deficiencies you may have, and help you be successful. And that everyone can do this. And this is another place to insert some great testimonials as to, I was here, now I'm here, and thank you very much. Life is good. We have 3 easy steps that you want to focus on. This is the beginning of the introduction to the cycle. I don't give them a headache with the full cycle here. I just basically say, look, all we're looking for is for you to come in, establish your why, set some goals. We'll help you with that. We'll teach you how to achieve those goals. And frankly, that education alone is worth the price of admission. We'll help you make your lists. The list that I refer to in this sense, though I don't talk about it right here, is the Who Knows Me list. the issues list for which we have the solutions, and then the list of activities you'll engage in to keep your Who Knows Me list fresh and updated and growing. And then the process of invitation. We invite people. That is a very graceful word. People respond well to that word as opposed to recruit or enroll or whatever the case may be. Invite speaks to join with. And then I always make the point of, yes, there's things you've got to do and you alone can do, but our job is to help you, be there for you, quite literally put our arm around you. There's even some of this we will do for you until you're ready to do it for yourself. Again, speaking to this issue of, can I do this? And then I start talking about economics. The key to this, in terms of a business perspective, is to move your, and I always say this, your personal and family. I broaden the definition to make it look less carnivorous, because it certainly is. I want to help you move your personal and family economic future from trading time for dollars, being personally active, to residual, recurring and leveraged income. I define those a little bit for people. Most people don't understand that. They get it conceptually, but they have a hard time getting their mind around that. You mean I don't have to show up and put in the hours and I still get paid? I mean, that just doesn't really make much sense to me. It seems too good to be true. And then once I've defined that well and waved my hands in the air sufficient to that, and there's a few people leaning forward, unfolding arms at that point in time, I'd say to them, look, what would you do to attain that sort of income, that sort of lifestyle, that sort of freedom, using those Unicity words in terms of getting that in your life for you and your family? And I speak about the plan we have relative to our 3-year plan. It provides context. It lets people know that we're serious about this in a real business sense. Most careers, if you will, have an apprenticeship or a qualification period. You know, if you're going to be a lawyer, for example, you've got to do the undergrad, the law school, and then you've got to do your sort of internship with the law firm where they work you to death. You know, we're trying to create an analogy between what people understand and where we're at. And show them, look, yeah, we can help you make good money today and tomorrow and this month and next month. No problem at all. But we have a plan to get you where you need to go over a 3-year time frame. It speaks to a level of credibility. It speaks to the fact we understand how life and the marketplace and the economy works, and we're working with that rather than contrary to that. All too often, they come in, make $1 gazillion next month, and retire on the beach in Hawaii the month after that. People just don't believe it. And the reason they don't believe it is because it's not true. And so we're demonstrating here to them a real, but yet substantive and lucrative path to where they want to get to, because there's no one that doesn't want to get here. It's just that more often than not we present it in a way that's frankly just unbelievable, and therefore they don't believe it. Then I start posing a bunch of rhetorical questions. Are you being paid what you're worth? Are you being paid the value you add? Or more pointedly, are you only being paid what someone else thinks you're worth? Or even more pointedly, are you only being paid what someone else thinks they can get away with paying you for but still have you turn up? Are you satisfied with your current economics? Is your plan A working for you? If so, great, keep it. How's your plan B? If you haven't got a plan B, and most don't, or if it isn't working for you as it should, then how about considering us as the plan B? And then I always insert this statement. A great plan B should be able to become your plan A when and if you want it to. If you have a plan A, value it, treasure it, keep it. But be working on a plan B or a plan C to ensure that you have coverage. We have learned something of the last 3 to 5 years is that you can't trust the government. You can't trust your employer. You can't trust the suits on Wall Street because they haven't got your and your family's economic interest at heart. So build something as a plan A, B, or C that you can count on because it rests solely on you and you alone, and you can trust you. If you can't, you've got bigger issues that I can't help you with. That's the positioning I'm trying to take. The next 3 years are going to pass by no matter what you do. So, do something about making them different. Do something about being in a different place in 3 years than what you are now. Again, reaffirming the time frame we're talking about, creating positive and appropriate expectations, and reaffirming that plan there. And then I come back to the proven process. I love this do X, get Y environment. If you do X, you'll get Y. No ambiguity, no mystery, no concern. The reverse also applies. If you want Y, if you want to make X $1,000 a month, we can show you exactly what you've got to do. Mathematically, it works both ways. That's the wonderful thing with algebra. So you then have them starting to ponder, which is the precursor to their goal setting, is, well, what do you want? And once you've defined that or given some thought to that, we can show you what you need to do to go get that. Again, no guesswork, no ambiguity, no mystery. So, defining that more carefully. What do you want to make this month? Do you want to make $1,000 this month? $2,000 this month? I try and keep it impressive but yet reasonable. I can show you how to do that. I can show you the activities that you need to engage in, over which you already have the skill that we can help you refine, over which you have complete control, in a simple, easy, duplicatable way, proven process and system to get you that result. I can show you that. We are doing that right now in this market, in these conditions, with these folks around you that you've just heard about, and certainly will be available to visit with you during and after this meeting. So, we invite you to engage with us, to join us. We invite you to begin the activity that builds a team, that builds a business, that provides proof positive that we know what we're doing and we can help you with that. We invite you to grow your residual leverage recurring income. And then I sort of start wrapping it up that way and I say, well, so what now? If you're interested, let's chat. Let's have a conversation. If you're not, thank you for your time. We wish you all the best. We're now going to take a 10-minute break. And those you want to excuse yourself, that's fine. If you've got other things to get on with, that's okay. If you want us to follow up with you, give us your details. I've always made sure I've tracked their details, or I shouldn't say trapped. I've collected their details in terms of name and number and email, etc. as they come into the meeting. And then after that 10-minute break, we get into the What Now session, which I'll cover in a different video. As a case in point, in terms of meeting logistics, I make sure I capture their data, name, phone number particularly, email ideally, and who invited them. Because my follow-up as the host of the meeting is to visit with those invitors and say, this is the group of people that came at your invitation. Make sure you follow up 1, you follow up 2 with them. Return and report to me how that went. If they don't return report, it usually means they haven't done the follow-up. I give them 48, 72 hours, and then I would give those leads to someone else. It is vital those leads be followed up on. And I let them know. I say, for example, Sam, you had 6 people at the meeting. Wonderful. Here's their names and details. You haven't got them already. Let me know in the next 48 hours that you followed up with them. Let me know what the action items are with them. If I don't hear from you in 48 hours, I'll give those leads to someone else. A little bit of fear of loss. A little bit harsh, some would add. But if they're not prepared to do the right thing with their own prospects, we owe it to that prospect to do the right thing for them. And, worst case scenario, it motivates Sam to go do what needs to be done anyway, which is only the best thing for him in his business anyway. That's the why Unicity. Those are the concepts, that's the language, that's the format, that's how I use the presentation to present that. The next video clip will be a run through very similarly of, well, what now? And I keep that light, I keep that not too many circles and lines so that people can understand conceptually when they leave that meeting, I'm in and I know what I've got to do. That's the goal. Thanks.